The showdown between Apple and the FBI takes center stage on Capitol Hill today. The battle of privacy versus national security is at stake after Apple rebuffed a federal court order to unlock the cell phone of one of the San Bernardino terrorists. Joining us now is Virginia Congressman and Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Bob Goodlatte. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Allison.
Congressman, where do you stand on this issue? Should Apple have to comply with the FBI request to unlock the cell phone in this terror investigation?
Well, we are focused on the overall encryption issue. Certainly, technology companies need to cooperate with law enforcement, but this is a very important issue that goes beyond this particular case in terms of whether or not government can order a company to create something that lessens the security not just of the particular phone that's in question. Here, there's no question. The user of this phone is dead. The ownership is with the county in California. That's not the case. The question is, if they create this key, where is that going to be stored? Who's going to have access to it? Will it jeopardize the security of millions or perhaps even 1 billion Apple phones, and what precedent will set for all communications technology? Encryption is a good thing, and we need to be promoting stronger and stronger encryption because that not only protects privacy, but it also prevents enormous amounts of crime. And obviously, when government agencies, when banks, when retailers are all being hacked and information about millions of consumers and taxpayers is being stolen, we're not doing enough in this area. It's not a question of too little. We need to be doing more encryption, not less.
Congressman, it sounds like you are falling along the side of Apple because the argument you're making is the very argument they and their lawyers have made. Let me play for you what Ted Olson, the Apple lawyer, as well as Apple's CEO, has said about this.
We have to do everything possible to defeat terrorism, to defeat and capture and punish people like Osama bin Laden and so forth. But we can't do it by breaking our Constitution. We have got to stop at some place.
The only way we know would be to write a piece of software that we view as sort of the software equivalent of cancer. We think it's bad news to write. We would never write it. We have never written it. And that is what is at stake here.
So, Congressman, that's what they say is at stake. Of course, the FBI and the Department of Justice says national security may be at stake. There might be something on that cell phone that would help them, say, prevent a future terror attack.
Absolutely. And technology companies and others should cooperate with law enforcement to be able to find ways to get access to that information, but relying upon a more than 200-year law that now yesterday a New York U.S. magistrate came down with a different ruling than occurred in the California court, U.S. court, means that the solution that the FBI is offering in this case has to be examined very, very carefully. This is not new. We've had an age-old effort to balance national security and protecting people's constitutional civil liberties. But what's important to recognize in this debate about encryption is that encryption both increases security and protects civil liberties, and that has to be taken into account as we work through this. But we definitely do need to look for solutions to law enforcement's problems. We should do that here in the United States Congress, not in the courts with hundreds of years old laws that never contemplated this technology or these kinds of questions.
Yeah.
And we should do it not with a commission, but through the committees of jurisdiction in the Congress.
So how are you going to figure that out today in Congress in your hearing?
We're going to, well, we've been working on this for a long time, but we're going to bring to light many of these important questions, and we'll have the opportunity to ask both the FBI Director James Comey, who is well respected and a strong advocate for keeping people safe with effective law enforcement tools, and hearing from Apple's General Counsel Bruce Sewell and other experts on this issue in terms of what needs to be done to strengthen protecting people and their privacy and civil liberties at the same time. It can be done, but it needs to be done with caution and protection of our constitutional liberties, as well as looking at the needs of law enforcement.
Well, Congressman Bob Goodlatte, we will be watching closely that hearing and what happens because it literally affects virtually every person in this country and beyond. Thanks so much for explaining it to us this morning on New Day.
Thank you, Alice.